Well, hello there, everybody. Welcome to the last lesson of the linear systems unit. This is lesson 3.6, and we're doing a unit review today. And at the end, you'll be doing a review relay, which you'll hand in. So this lesson won't consist of anything new. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through in a visual summary. I will go through filling in a visual summary handout. I will post the blank handout on Brightspace so you can follow along if you would like. And then once I have mine filled out after the video, I will upload it so you can have my filled in one as well. So if you would like, you could just go to the visual summary and try to fill it in yourself. And then check mine later. You do not have to watch this video unless you want to see me fill it in. Once you are done your visual summary review handout, then you're going to complete the review relay. And that's going to be an assignment on Brightspace. Okay, so I'll show you what it looks like quickly. So the review relay. Where's the review relay? We'll show you the solutions. This is gonna take forever for some reason. We've done relays before, and it's gonna have different types of each question. Here we go. So you're going to have questions to do solve by graphing, solve by substitution, solve by elimination, and solve which method would be the best to solve that one. And then the last one will be a word problem. So what I want you to do for number 1, 2, and 3, you can pick either A or B. So for numbers 1, 2, 3, choose A or B to solve. So you do not have to do A and B. You can choose to solve A or B for number 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to do those solutions on a separate piece of paper, or if you want to do in a Google Doc or however you choose to do it, you can do it there. And then what you'll do is you'll go to your Brightspace page and you'll click on assignments, and in there I will have a spot called Linear Systems Review Relay, and it'll be a new assignment here that you can click on and attach any photos that you take of your solutions, or if you save it as a PDF or if you save it as a doc, you can attach it there. Okay, let's go back to the slide just so I know what else we're doing. Yes, there will be some extra work. If you would like, I'm going to post another linear systems review handout. It's kind of like how a test would be set out. You're not going to have to do it, but if you do want to go through it and use it extra practice, you can do that, and I will post my solutions on Brightspace. Okay, so let's go over this visual summary then. So I'm going to switch over to my camera. I know it's a bit weird that you can kind of see the everything on my camera, but oh well. Let's see, enter full screen. That way I can zoom in as much as we can. I'll put my mouse over here, so hopefully that thing in the middle will go away. There it goes. Okay, so this is the visual summary that I've created for this unit. This is going to be used for both the 2Ps and 2Ds, just like everything in this unit. So I have 4 kind of terms that we've learned this unit, and so we're going to summarize those, and then I'm going to do an example question of each type of solution method that we did in this unit. Okay, So first of all, what in the world is a linear system of equations? Well, that's two linear equations. So this is two linear equations. And remember, linear equations have the form y equals mx plus b. Now remember, they don't have to be in this order for it to be a linear equation. As long as one of the terms has a y in it, and one of the terms has an x, and the other term is just a number by itself, that can be a linear equation. And remember, it doesn't have to be x and y. It can be c and n. It can be a and d, right? So as long as you have two variables and a constant, that's all you're looking for. Point of intersection, what is that? Well, when you think about a graph, it's where the two lines cross, right? Where two lines cross. And I'm going to put graph in brackets because that's kind of specifically for graphs, because this point of intersection is also known as the solution to a system, a linear system. Okay, this is a solution to a linear system, and remember, it has the form x comma y because it is a point. That point tells me where my two linear equations are equal. Okay. So we did three methods. The first one was graphing. That's fairly self-explanatory because you're using a graph to find the intersection. Elimination, remember, this is the one where we added or subtracted equations. Okay, and remember we stacked it first. Our first step was stacking. Our second step was adding or subtracting. And then our third step was to solve. Remember, we had to solve for one variable and then the other one. And we're going to do an example down here. The substitution method was we basically used an equation for one of the variables to solve for the other. Now the steps there were we isolate one variable or letter, and then we sub that into other equation. And then we solved for both variables. Okay, and again, I'm going to do some examples for that. So those are the definitions or the steps in those methods that we have. So let's do an example of each. So let's do solve by graphing first. I've already done the Desmos of this one. So we have these two equations, y equals negative 2x plus 9 and y equals 3x minus 1. Remember that this is our y-intercept, the number at the end, and then this is our slope. Okay, on Desmos, if you want to try it, you can go to desmos.com and you can type in these two equations, y equals negative 2x plus 9 and y equals 3x minus 1. And if you graph them, I'm just color coding them here. Okay, this one is the first one. And then the one going up, because it has a positive slope, is going to be that second one. And if you go in Desmos and you just click where they intersect, it will tell you what the solution is or their point of intersection. So therefore, if we graph this in Desmos and you click on where they intersect, the point will pop up, and so therefore our point of intersection is 2, 5. And remember, your 2 is your x value. See how at this point the x value is 2 and the y value is 5. Now by hand to graph it, we're going to use our equations to graph. So if we have our first equation, remember your starting point is your y-intercept. So you're going to start at 9. So that's going to be your first point. So 9 is here between 8 and 10. And then your slope, because it's negative, you're going to go down by 2 and right by 1. Always go right by 1. And that's how we're going to get our second point. So down by 2 from 9 is 7, and over by 1 is there. So that's going to be our second point. Now remember, you can keep going. You can go down by 2, right by 1, and keep doing that, down by 2, right by 1. You can, but remember, you only need 2 points to graph a straight line, right? So there's our first line. Then our second line, we're going to do the same thing. So remember, we're going to start, our starting point is -1. So start at -1. And then our slope, because it's a positive number, we're going to go up by 3 and right, because we always go to the right, by 1. By 1. Okay, so we're going to start at -1, which is there. And then from here, I'm going to go up by 3 and then right by 1. So up by 3, 1, 2, 3, and right by 1. And you can do that multiple times. 1, 2, 3, over by 1. Then once you feel like you have enough that you can draw a nice straight line, you can do that. And look at that, they intersect right at this point. So this is our POI right here, our point of intersection. So therefore, our point of intersection is, remember, you're going to write your x value first, and then your y. X is along the horizontal, so 2, and the y value is 5. And it should obviously make out to be the same as the Desmos solution because we are solving the same equation. So that's how you can solve by graphing, okay? Either by Desmos or by hand on your review relay. Yes, I would like you to show me by hand just so I can see that you're able to do it. But you can check it with Desmos. Okay, so now this one, we're going to solve by elimination. That means, remember, our steps were, we're going to stack them, we're going to add, subtract them, and then we're going to solve. So they're stacked for us. Remember, there was that extra little step. If we don't have the same number in front of our variables, we need to get them to be the same. So remember, you're going to multiply one of your equations to get the same number in front of the same letter. So 2 and 3, we can't do that. You'd have to multiply both equations, and we don't want to do that. But notice, this one's 3y and this one's y. So if I multiply this equation by 3, I'll get 3y's. So let's multiply by 3. So that's step 1. Step 1 there. Okay, because they're stacked already. So if I multiply that by 3, we're going to have 2x plus 3y equals 5. And now I'm going to multiply this by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9x. 3 times 1 is 3y. And then 3 times 11 is 33. So now we're stacked. So now are we going to add or subtract? Well, if I want to get rid of my 3y's, I have to subtract, don't I? Because if I added 3y plus 3y, I would get 6y, and that doesn't get rid of that, the y's. So let's subtract. So remember, you're going to do 2x minus 9x, so 2 minus 9 is 7x. 3y minus 3y is 0, so we're done there. And then 5 minus 33 is negative 28. Okay, so now we have 7x equals negative 28. So we're going to solve for x here. So we're going to divide by 7 each side to get rid of that x. So our x is going to be negative 28 divided by 7, which is negative 4. And now that we have our x is negative 4, we can sub x equals negative 4 into an equation to find y. Equation to find y. So that's kind of step 1 up here. This is step 2. So you can choose whichever equation you would like. Let's use the top one. So let's use 2 times x plus 3y equals to 5. So now I'm going to sub in my x is negative 4. To solve for y. So 2 times negative 4 is negative 8 plus 3y equals 5. Now we need to get our y by itself. So this is where we do our algebra, right? So I'm going to add 8 to both sides, leaving us with 3y here, and 5 plus 8. Did I do this right? Did I? Okay, well, it's 13. And then to get rid of the 3, we're going to divide by 3. Because this isn't an exact number, you can just leave it like this, or you can calculate it as a decimal. I'm just going to leave it as 13 over 3. So now we have our x and we have our y. So therefore, our point of intersection is equal to our x value and our y value. Okay, so you can always throw those into Desmos to double check that is the solution. Okay, solving by substitution, finally, we're going to do a couple of these. Remember, you're going to isolate one variable, sub it into the other equation to solve for the 2 letters. So in this case, both of my equations have d equals something in terms of t. D equals something in terms of t. So we can start by saying d equals d, which means we can put the right side equals to each other as well. So that means 0.2t is equal to 0.5 t minus 6. Okay, so we need to get the t's by itself. So the first thing I'm going to do is multiply out on this side. So 0.2t is equal to 0.5t. And then -6 times 0.5, if you want to, you can use your calculator, but you can know that 0.5 means half. So half of 6 is 3, and it's negative. So we need to get these t's on both sides. So I'm going to take my 0.5t over, so I'm going to subtract by 0.5 on each side. And 0.2 minus 0.5 is negative 0.3t is equal to negative 3. And now I'm going to divide by negative 0.3 on both sides to find my t, and that should come to 10. Okay, so there's my t, and now, so that's step 1, and then step 2 is to plug my t into my equation. It can be either one to find my value for d. I'm going to use the first one because it's smaller. It's a simpler equation, so I'm just going to use that. So d is 0.2 times t, so 0.2 times 10. Well, 0.2 times 10 is going to be 2. So therefore, my point of intersection is going to be, because my t is on this side and my d is on the left, this is going to be kind of be my y, right? And my t is going to be my x. So my t is going to be 10 and my d is going to be 2. So there's my point of intersection for that one. So now for the last one, we are going to substitute, but it's not as easy this time, right? So we're going to need to isolate a variable here so we can plug it into the other equation. So let's call this equation 1 and that equation 2. So my first step, I'm going to use equation 2 to solve for x. So if we have x plus y is equal to 8, I need to get rid of that y. That means x equals 8 minus y. Okay? So now my second step is I'm going to take my equation for x and put it in for my x into equation 1. So I'm going to, step 2 is use x equals 8 minus y and equation, I'm going to go with the page, 1 to find y. So if I have 3x plus 2y equals 19, now I'm going to plug in, remember this is the blob, I'm going to plug in my blob for my x. So instead of x here, it's going to be 8 minus y plus 2y equals 19. So now we have to do our algebra to solve for y. So this 3 is going to multiply by the 8, which is 24, and also by the y, which is negative 3y plus 2y equals 19. I am recording, please. So negative 3y plus 2y is negative y equals 19. We're going to subtract 24 from both sides. 24. So negative y is equal to 19 minus 24 is negative 5. So y is equal to 5. So now using that, I can find my x. And I'm going to use equation 2. So using y equals 5 and equation 2, find x. So x plus y is equal to 8. So now we're going to plug in my 5 in from my y. So x plus 5 is equal to 8. And now we're going to find x by subtracting 5 both sides, leaving me with x equals 3. So therefore, my x, my point of intersection, is 3, my x value, and then my y value. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture of this whole thing, and I am going to put it up on the Brightspace page so you guys can see it. Please let me know if you have any questions. I am just going to go back to here. So there we filled in the visual summary of the unit. So what you need to do now is complete those review relay questions that I showed you. Remember, you only have to do A or B for questions 1, 2, and 3. And then once you're done that, you're going to go to the assignments tab. There's going to be an assignment in here called Unit 3 Review Relay or something like that, where you can submit it. Okay, so that's it for today, and that is it for this unit. So please let me know if you have any questions. You can contact me using the envelope in the top right corner, either by instant message or by email. Okay, great. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.